can I just say one thing firstly? I love the name Eat, Sleep, Boxing, Repeat.
Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel in partnership with shopbetting.co.uk, your home for betting tips and analysis. Please click the link in the description to find out more. Delighted as always to be joined by Elliot Grigg. This is a final prediction video for the heavyweight fight taking place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia this Saturday. Martin Bakole, the returning Martin Bakole after his last time out against Joseph Parker against FA Ajagba. Elliot, good to be joined by you as always. Always enjoy doing these sort of videos with you. We'll go right into it as always. Bakole Ajagba. Yeah, I'll just hand the mic to you now. Bakole, we saw what happened against Joseph Parker last time out. Ajagba has maybe shown his own limitations, but what's your final prediction going into this one, please?
Well, my final prediction, it depends really entirely on the conditioning of Big Martin Bakole, to be honest with you. I think, the nightmare of Riddier last time for everyone who was watching it, other than Martin himself, who seemed to, it seemed to be excused by him travelling around the malls of Dubai buying designer gear and having a sort of whale of a time for life-changing money, is as it was. But I mean, that's not obviously great for a spectacle. So for me, it depends on kind of how he turns out. I expect him to be prepped, to be honest, this time round. I expect him to be sort of conditioned and actually ready to fight this time round. And therefore, I make Martin Bakole very strong favourite in this fight. I think, to be honest, he's levels above FA Ajagba, and I think he'll stop Ajagba. I really do. I think, no disrespect to Ajagba. I mean, obviously, that win last time out against Vianello is a good win for me. I don't think Vianello's quite a good fighter, but I look at it where Martin Bakole was, and almost you have to take Joseph Parker out of it because he was obviously on the ascendancy before that time. We were talking about him fighting for a world title maybe in sort of the next year, 18 months, talking about him against the likes of Dubois. What would he do against Usyk? So when he comes over and gets a little jab, goes rolling around on the floor and the towel comes in, you have to kind of go, forget about that. So I think the real Martin Bakole will be back, and I think a stoppage. To be honest, I don't see it going beyond sort of 7 rounds, really. I really don't. I've seen Bakole sort of getting hold of him somewhere, maybe 4 to 6, to be honest with you, and I see him stopping him convincingly.
Yeah, definitely. I think Bakole should be coming back with a vengeance here. I imagine it was embarrassing what happened last time. The whole fiasco episode of him kind of coming from the Congo to Riyadh, arriving, was it 20 hours before the fight or something like that, was not good. It was not a good. I don't think it was. It was a great look. And I'm sure he's had a tough camp here against for a fight against FA Jack, who's just got the one loss on his record to Frank Sanchez, which was a while ago now. I think had a close fight against Vianello, a fight that could have gone either way last time out. I'm supremely confident that Bakole wins this fight, and he wins this fight by KO. He really should do, and I'm actually going to go a bit earlier than you, Elliot. I'm going to go round 3 or 4. And I'm hoping that we can all jump back onto the Martin Bakole hype train, which is where we were after the Jared Anderson win. Just want to bring in our partners, Sharp Betting, Elliot. They've got offered odds that give an implied probability of 78% for Bakole to win this fight, which of course gives Ajagba a 22% chance. What's your reaction to that? Did you think Bakole would be higher than 78%, lower? Because personally, yeah, I think FA Ajagba, I'm not giving him a 22% chance of winning this fight personally, but well, what's your opinion?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can argue with the algorithms going on at sharpbetting.co.uk. And in some ways, I feel like maybe that's just taking into consideration what we saw last time out at Bakole, and maybe that's taking into consideration that he didn't look in shape in that fight. I don't think he wasn't really in training, despite I think what a lot of people were saying. So I feel like in many ways, to me, it's almost like when Fury fought, when Fury had that fight, and he kind of like used it as part of the camp before before he fought Usyk, and you're kind of going, is that kind of what Martin's done here? So maybe the camp started there. So maybe people are looking at it and going, actually, Jagba, chiseled, very physically strong guy. Maybe they're looking at it and going, if Martin doesn't turn up, he can do something. But to be honest with you, I have it a lot wider than that, to be honest. I really do. Like you're saying, I kind of feel like if Martin Bakole turns up in any kind of, in a kind of fight condition, that I don't give Jabba really any chance. I mean, we've seen Martin actually be durable. We didn't see obviously get against Joe Parker, but I think Billy was obviously looking to protect him there rather than anything else. But we've seen him be able to take a shot. FA Jabba, yeah, all right, fair enough. He's got some, he got like 14 KOs in 20, but not against the sort of opposition of Bakole. So I expect Bakole to hold that power, to be honest with you, but I don't expect Jabba to hold Bakole's power. That's kind of what I'm looking at it. So I would have it wider. I maybe would look at that 78-22 as kind of, do you give Ajagba 22% of getting out the first half? Maybe I could kind of give it that way. I could look at it that way, but I don't yeah, I don't give him any real chance in this fight. I really don't.
No, like I suppose thinking about it, I just think if I kind of gave you the task or gave someone the task of making a case for a Jagba, I suppose you could say like Bakole's had this weird experience of going to Saudi Arabia, getting stopped, and then going back, just kind of going back home basically, or whatever he did afterwards. Where's he at now? Where's his mentality at now? Is it the same Martin Bakole? So we'll see. And that brings me on to
Martin McCauley and designer gear, I reckon that's what we've got now
but
this time.
we'll see. Like he's coming, and I mean, I don't know if it was disclosed
Yeah.
how much money he made from that Parker fight, but he has come in, made a lot of money, and come back out again. So where's the hunger at? That's kind of my question as well. And this was dubbed as a final eliminator, and it's now not a final eliminator. So is
Mm.
the motivation there as well? We don't know. That brings me on to kind of my final question for you, Elliot. I think when looking at rankings, Ajagba currently is ranked number 3, with the IBF Chisora is ranked number 2. Cody's kind of slipped down to number 10. Um, I don't know if that's still the route that Billy Nelson and co are gonna go down. But what I'm trying to get at here, is Bakole up there with the top heavyweights in the world for you still, i.e. Joseph Parker, Daniel Dubois. I don't think the Usyk fight will ever happen, but yeah, Dubois, Parker, Caballel, possibly those are fights that possibly could happen in the next 12 months. Can he win those fights in your opinion?
You know what? He can actually. He really can. I think. Yeah, I think that ranking slip is kind of a misnomer for me. I think you like Chisora or whatever Jab. I think you'll flog those guys around the ring. But I think if you look at Parker's interesting. I still think Martin McConaughey beats Joe Parker, to be honest. If he's fit and conditioned, I think he's too big, hits too hard. I think he sort of would get to Joe Parker as well, even though Parker's in this kind of renaissance of his career. Dubois is an interesting one because Dubois fast hands and hits bloody hard. So for me, I actually would make Dubois favourite in that fight. Though what I would say is that I think Bakole's got a live chance in that fight, to be honest with you as well. We've seen Dubois hurt as well. So I think Bakole could equally stop Dubois, but I would have Dubois as favourite. Caballel, again, I think Bakole's too big. I'd actually back Bakole to beat Caballel. I think he'd get hold of him again eventually and stop him. So I think really you're looking at like the guys that I think I would sort of pick against him are kind of almost like the champions guys, like Usyk, Dubois, I would say would beat him. But other than that, I'd have Martin live in any fight beneath that against anyone.
Fantastic, yeah, and it just shows. I'm stating the obvious here, but it just kind of goes to show you've stated Bakole is arguably the third best heavyweight in the world now, which I don't disagree with. But if you're not going to train and then, like, was he in the top kind of 50 heavyweights in the world on February 22nd? I'd argue possibly not, but we'll see. It's an interesting one. We'll see how much Bakole kind of weighs this time. I think it was 315 pounds against Parker, so expecting a lot trimmer, and we'll see. Both going for a Bakole stoppage here, but yeah, we'll see if and when that happens. Elliot, good to be joined by you as always. Enjoy the fight, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Thank you very much, mate. As always, guys, thank you very much for watching.